for calling the Missouri Department of Revenue. Your call may be recorded or monitored.
Asking your name, address, age, and social.
Please hold while we connect your call.
This is Desiree Wolford.
Desiree?
Yes, I'm an attorney with Missouri Department of Revenue. How can I help you?
Am I on speakerphone?
Yes.
How many other people are in the room with you?
That's it.
That's it? So
Just me.
Condra didn't come in with you?
It's just me.
Okay. Problem I'm having is that she's not very consistent, and she doesn't seem to be acting in good faith. She says she has evidence. When I question her on that, she says it's about documents. I ask her how those documents prove the Constitution and laws apply to Loretta, and she tells me she doesn't have the ability to answer that and has to send it to the legal department.
Yeah, I mean, if you're bringing up legal concerns or legal arguments, then yeah, it would be more appropriate to speak with an attorney.
Well, maybe so, but I was raising an issue of fact based on what she had already told me. I was just, based on what she told me, she said there was evidence. I asked her about that, asked her if that was actually proof that the Constitution laws apply to Loretta, and she said she didn't have the ability to answer. So it's, if she doesn't have the ability to answer, she shouldn't be answering the questions in the first place. She has no business stating that there's evidence to show that the Constitution laws apply and that there's jurisdiction over Loretta if she's not, if she doesn't have the ability to answer such questions. It's misleading at best.
Okay.
So,
I don't know the circumstances here. I just took the call. Is Loretta a Missouri resident?
Sorry?
Is Loretta a Missouri resident?
No,
a resident of the state of Missouri?
The question that we have, that is a legal opinion. The question that we have is because the determinations have already been made, and there's a garnishment for the forcible taking of her property. In lay terms, your agency, your company is stealing from Loretta. So the question we have is, what evidence, or can you confirm that there's evidence proving that your Constitution and laws apply to Loretta, and if there's any jurisdiction over her at all?
Well, that's why I'm asking if she's a resident of Missouri.
No, there's no evidence to that effect. What evidence do you have that your Constitution and codes apply to Loretta?
Well, sir, you're not answering my questions. How
I
can
already
I answer
did.
your questions
I said
if I don't have enough information?
There's no evidence to show that she's a resident. Are you under the impression that if someone is physically in Missouri, then the laws, the Constitution and laws of Missouri apply to them?
If they're a resident of Missouri, yes.
So let's break this down. Let's leave the legal mumbo-jumbo out of it. Are you under the opinion that just because someone is physically in Missouri, that the laws and the Constitution of Missouri apply to them?
Sir, I'm answering your question, and I'm saying that if they're a resident of Missouri, or if they've earned income in Missouri, they are subject to Missouri tax laws.
Well, the question is, do you believe that the Constitution and laws in general apply to someone just because they're physically in Missouri?
Yes.
Okay, now what evidence do you have to prove that just because someone is physically in Missouri, that the Constitution and laws automatically apply?
If someone is speeding in Missouri,
I didn't ask
they
you
have
that.
to abide by the speed limit.
I didn't ask you that. You said and you agreed that if someone is just physically in Missouri, the Constitution and laws apply. So what evidence do you have to prove that statement?
To prove what statement?
That the Constitution and laws of the state of Missouri apply just because you're physically in Missouri.
Well, sir, I'm not sure I understand your question then.
You're an attorney, correct?
Yes, I am.
Do you believe the Constitution and laws apply to people physically in Missouri, right? So it's just a matter of what evidence do you have to support that opinion?
And you're an attorney, correct?
No, I'm asking you a direct question. What evidence do you have to support your opinion that the Constitution and laws of the state of Missouri apply just because someone's physically in Missouri?
Well, I mean, can you answer my question first? Are you an attorney?
It has no bearing on this whatsoever, ma'am.
It does. You're trying to make legal arguments.
No, I'm not. Oh, stop. I'm asking you a simple question of evidence. I'm not making an argument
at all. It's not
a
simple question, sir.
It's not? Why is it not a simple question? You made a statement. You made a legal determination that the Constitution and laws of the state apply because you're physically in Missouri. I'm just asking you for the evidence to back that up.
That Loretta's physically in Missouri?
Can you just answer the question?
Excuse me?
I just need you to answer the question. What evidence do you have to show that the Constitution and laws of the state apply just because someone is physically in Missouri?
I would think that we'd have to answer that based on an individual person, not as vaguely as you're asking it.
Well, you answered it in a vague that you stated that if someone is physically in Missouri, the Constitution and laws apply. And I said, okay, great, that's your opinion. Now, what evidence do you have to back that up?
Like the actual statutes? You want the statutes that?
No, I'm asking for evidence that your Constitution and laws in general, the entire body of Missouri state law, that you agreed apply just because me or Loretto or someone else is physically in Missouri. You've already taken that position. That's a very common position. Most people are laboring under that delusion. I just want the evidence to prove that just because me or Loretto are physically in Missouri, that the constitutional laws apply.
Well, I would just refer you to the statutes for an attorney of your own.
Excuse me? I'm looking for evidence the Constitution and laws themselves apply. Why would I have to go speak to an attorney? I'm talking to one now who's already made the determination that if I'm physically in Missouri, the Constitution and laws apply. I need you to connect. I need you to support that opinion.
If you don't agree with my opinion, then that's why you would hire an attorney to dispute that.
No, I'm not stupid. I don't need to hire an attorney to get an answer or to get the evidence that your opinion is based on. I'm a rational professional adult.
The evidence that I'm providing you is the statutes of Missouri, the Missouri Revised Statutes. I would look at those.
So the Missouri Revised Statutes are evidence of themselves that they apply to me or Loretta just because I'm physically in Missouri.
Yes.
That is circular logic, ma'am. That is not evidence. That's
well,
saying
sorry
that
you feel that way.
It's not a matter of how I feel. It's a matter of logic and reason. If you are saying that the law applies because the law says so, that is the definition of circular logic, and that's a logical fallacy. It's not evidence. I can write down here that Marc's law applies to Desiree, and you say, well, what evidence do you have, Marc, that your law applies to me? Because Desiree, hire an attorney, or just read it yourself. It says it applies to you. I mean,
so, sir, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but where are you going with this?
What do you mean? I think we've just established that the only thing that you rely on to prove that your Constitution and laws apply to someone like Loretta is a logical fallacy, that the law applies because the law applies. But you don't have any actual evidence to prove that your constitutional laws apply to Loretta. And if you don't have any evidence of that, then you can't prove that there's any jurisdiction, and rational adults dealing in good faith would withdraw the garnishment and leave Loretta alone until such a time as they have evidence. Because without evidence your constitutional laws apply, you're stealing her property, or you're stealing her money.
And what law do you have to provide that says all that you just told me? Because I don't believe there's any law that you're working with.
I'm working with reason.
I mean, you're talking about logical fallacies, but what laws of the United States are you looking at that supports what you're saying? Because we go by laws.
Do you go by evidence too?
We go by laws.
Do you arbitrarily apply those laws?
If you can show that Loretta was not a resident or earned income in Missouri, then that would be helpful to this situation.
But the fact that we've established you have no evidence to prove.
Can I get a word in here?
Yeah, sure.
I'm Dr. Loretta's husband, and I generally speak for her, and I'm listening to this conversation. Are you in Jefferson City, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Then you're within the Archdiocese of Jefferson City. Does that make you subject to the bishop?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir.
I'm saying that you're living within the jurisdiction, within the area that encompasses the Diocese of Jefferson City. Does that make you subject to the dictates of the Bishop of Jefferson City?
I don't know what bishop you're referring to.
Madam, please. It's not a question that requires any great expertise to answer. You're within the area designated as the Missouri Synod of the Lutheran Church. Does that make you subject to the Synod of the Lutheran Church? I mean, come on, just because you're physically in a place, does that mean the people who call themselves the rulers there can make you do whatever they want? Your organization is claiming a greater right to my wife's property than she has. We just want to know how you can possibly do that. You're telling us it's the law, but since your organization makes the laws, what you're telling me is that you are entitled to my wife's property because you say so. We just question that.
And we clearly established
but
that.
you don't have any law to substantiate what you're saying. I mean, that's the issue here.
Yeah. Well, let's wait.
What law?
Wait,
if
doctor.
Somebody comes up to me in the street and says, "Give me your money or I'll shoot you," do I need to cite a law?
Well, they would be breaking the law, yes.
It's just elementary justice, ma'am. If you claim you're entitled to my wife's money, you must have some proof that she owes it to you. Not simply because you wrote down someplace that she owes it to you when you're going to say that's the proof.
Yeah, and ma'am, if you want to play this ridiculous legal game, that we have to cite some kind of law that to show that what you're doing is wrong. Well, one, you've admitted that you have no evidence; that it's just basically a circle of logic. And I
have not admitted anything.
Yeah, you said the law applies because the law said so. So whether you want to admit that that's circular, it is. So rational people can agree to that. Rational people with who are acting in good faith. Well, yeah, if that's circular logic. Your own laws require that you have what's called due process, okay? You are not permitted under your code to arbitrarily attack people, to arbitrarily take people's property. So to answer your question and play your game, you're violating your own due process requirements by not having evidence. So can we move further now to a resolution of this garnishment?